Hi guys, welcome back to Mower Fitness. In today's video, we're going to see if I can run a personal best in the 10K without doing any training whatsoever. All right, let's back up. So obviously I've been doing some training, but it hasn't been aimed specifically for this 10K. It's just been sort of sporadic and random. So we're gonna see if doing that is enough to get me a PR. All right, let's jump in. So let's do a bit of background first. My main goal this year was to do a half Ironman, which I did successfully manage to finish, mainly thanks to Coach Costa from the NRC team. However, that was back in August 4th to be exact, almost a month ago now. And to be completely honest, it was brutal. But that's a completely different story. If you want to see that video, be sure to check it out. It's up here somewhere. Anyway, after suffering through that half Ironman, I took a 2-week holiday. I went to Madeira and just had a long period of chilling. Once I returned to England, it was time to get back on the grind, and for the rest of 2024, the goal is just losing weight. On race day for the half Ironman, my weight was 104 kilograms. As of today, which is about a day before my 10K and a month after the Ironman, if that makes sense, my weight is 100 kilograms exactly. So a nice drop off 3.5 kilograms already. Not too bad. All right, we're getting sidetracked. Let's get back to the 10K. So this race is in the calendar for the 6th of September. This is the Ickworth, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Sunset Chase. My training leading up to this has essentially been nothing. Like I said, I finished my Ironman, went on holiday, literally did nothing for 2 weeks. And all I've done since I got home from that holiday is literally just like 4 runs. In total, in the month leading up to this race, I've ran a grand total of 4 times, covering about 20 kilometers. So I really have very little mileage in my legs this month, which is probably not ideal preparation. So what is my 10K PR? To be completely honest with you, before I started researching this video, I had no idea whatsoever. But a quick look at my Strava shows that it is 49 minutes and 40 seconds, which is just under 5 minutes per kilometer. Not too shabby at all, I think. That was set over a year ago when I was deep into a training blog for my first ever marathon. Again, video up there somewhere if you're interested. So yeah, I might be being a bit optimistic thinking that I will be able to just go out and smash this PR without any proper training whatsoever. However, it's worth a try, and there are a few reasons why I think I might be able to pull it off. Firstly, my overall fitness is a lot higher than it was back then, and to prove it, I'm going to use science. Right, so this is my fitness chart for the last 2 years from Strava. Basically, the higher the line, the fitter you are. As you can see, it goes up and down quite a lot. When I got my 10K PR, I was at the arbitrary value of 52. And I don't know if that's actually high or not, but considering it's dropped down to the 30s a few times, and once even down to 20, it's pretty high for me. However, as of last month, my line of fitness here reached its absolute peak of 75. Admittedly, it has definitely dropped off a bit this last month, but what I'm hoping is that some of that fitness from when it was way up high still remains somehow. So sort of like an extreme taper sort of situation. If it is still there, then hopefully I can do quite well, because at that point I was feeling very good. I'm not sure how quickly fitness drops off. I guess we are about to find out. Second reason. My 10K PR wasn't actually set in a 10K, if that makes sense. So, like I said, I was training for a marathon at that point, and this particular run where I set my 10K PR wasn't a 10-kilometer long run. It was a half marathon, so a 21-kilometer run. And basically what that means is in this 21-kilometer run, at some point during that, there was a period of 10K distance where that was my PR, if that makes sense. So that's a good thing because it proves I wasn't actually pushing myself fully. I reckon if I did a 10K maximum effort at that point, I would have been quite a bit faster than that. So it's a good thing I didn't really push myself all out on that 10K distance, because it gives me hope that I might actually be able to beat it today. So I hope that kind of makes sense. It's a bit of a convoluted point, but there you go. All right, thirdly, during the training for my half Ironman, I did a shorter event called an Olympic distance triathlon, and in that there is a 10K. And during that event, I ran the 10K in 52 minutes, which is only 2 minutes slower than the time I need. What's more, that 52-minute 10K came after a 1,500-meter swim and a 40-kilometer bike ride. So I managed 52 minutes with legs that were already pretty damn fatigued. So I reckon on fresh legs, just going all out for this 10K, I might be able to shave a few more minutes off. All right, last point. This is an actual 10K event. There's going to be loads of people there, everyone cheering you on, and hopefully that will be able to give me a bit of a push. You know, when you've got the crowd there just giving you that extra edge, hopefully it will give me that last little bit of energy I need to break this record. Also, you can draft off people. I'm not sure if that makes a difference in running, but in my mind it does. So those are my optimistic reasons on why I might be able to beat my PR. Here are my excuses. Number 1, elevation profile. Who thought putting a 10K on a course like this was a good idea? Overall, 126 meters of elevation gain, which is a lot. I really don't like running uphill because I'm so heavy. It's just not a nice experience, but it is what it is. It's not like the elevation is spread out over the whole race either. It's literally just 2 massive hills and they're pretty steep. It gets up to like 8% at points. So I'm really gonna have to struggle my way up those and hope that I don't lose too much time. Also, the final kilometer is uphill. Normally you're trying to empty the tank at that point and do a sprint finish, but if it's up a hill, I'm definitely not going to be able to do that. All right, excuse number 2, that is the heat. So the UK summer has been very sporadic this year. Some days it's been like 30, other days it's been like 20. I'm really hoping it's going to be cooler. But if it is not, I am probably gonna suffer quite a lot. Being a big guy, I sweat a lot and it is not very nice basically. I can perform in the cold temperatures so much better than I can in the heat. So hopefully on Friday, the weather will be nice and cool. If not, I'm gonna suffer. All right, excuse number 3, and I'm really getting desperate here, but this one is the start time. This is an evening run at 6:45 p.m, which is way too late for me. I'm a morning person. I like waking up at 5 a.m. and getting everything done before the sun comes up basically. So by 6:45, I am already gonna be pretty sleepy, which is not ideal at all. However, I guess I'm just gonna have to face it, chug a Red Bull or something before the start line, and hopefully I'll be fully caffeinated and ready to go. All right, last excuse. So when I set my old 10K PR, I was about 5 kilograms heavier at 95 kilograms. Now I'm 100 kilograms, so yeah, not ideal. Obviously running is one of those sports where it's better to be lighter. So yeah, hauling that extra 5 kilograms up some hills is not gonna be ideal, but that's the situation. So I'm just gonna have to do it, I guess. All right, that's it. Excuses out the way. Can we move on now? So on my watch, a Garmin Fenix 7, you have a feature called Pace Pro. So what you have to do is put the course into the app. You then have to choose a goal time. So what it will then do is give you your kilometer split or the pace you need to run at. This will adjust based on the elevation of the race. You can also fine tune it to your liking, so you can decide whether you want to do a negative split or a positive split. You can also adjust how much effort you put into the uphills. So for me, I've decided to do a maximal negative split, meaning I'm going to run a lot slower at the beginning and a lot faster at the end. The reason for that is I do not like warming up. Basically, I plan to use the first kilometer as a way to get my body ready. Also, at these big events, it's always so many people at the start line. First kilometer is always just like weaving in and out to find a clear place to run. For the effort uphill, I've selected easiest because, like I said, I'm a pretty heavy guy. Any extra effort going uphill is going to be really hard. So I'm going to set it to the easiest setting for going uphill. All right, that's pretty much it, to be honest. In terms of nutrition and hydration, I haven't really thought about it. I'm probably just going to have a gel like 10 minutes before the race starts, but 10K is short enough that I don't think I'll need any extra gels or any extra water really, which is quite nice considering the last event I did was a half Ironman and that was all about nutrition. It's quite nice just to be able to run without having to think about all of that stuff. All right, wish me luck. Race day is tomorrow and hopefully it will go well. Right, so here we are at the start line. The weather is actually pretty cool, so my first excuse for it being too hot is straight out the window. Being the eternal optimist, I managed to snag a position right at the front, so hopefully there's going to be no weaving in or out of people. My plan for this race was to go out slow and basically warm up during the first kilometer, but that goes out the window straight away. For some reason, I felt quite good and I absolutely sprinted out of the gates. For the first kilometer, my goal pace was 5:51. but I absolutely smashed it and ran the first K in 4:41, which is way too fast. So in that first kilometre, I've already built myself a buffer ahead of my goal time. That buffer currently stands at 1 minute and 10 seconds. Second kilometre, similar story. I ended up running at a pace off 4:34, whereas my goal pace was 5:27. The buffer kept growing bigger and bigger. It's almost 2 minutes now. Kilometre 3 rolls around and still the pace is good. Another 25 seconds added to the buffer. At this point it's almost 2.5 minutes. However, this is where the struggle really begins. As you can see from the graph at the top, the first 3 kilometres or so were downhill and then flat, and now the course starts to head upwards. The dynamic of the race has really changed. It's now a case of, can I hold onto my 2.5 minute buffer until the end? Kilometre 4, I managed to keep it quite steady, didn't lose any time, but crucially managed to gain another 5 seconds. But the pain is only just beginning in Kilometre 5. The road really started to go upwards here. There's some pretty sharp points here, over 4% easily. The legs are starting to feel the burn at this point. Overall, in Kilometre 5, I lost just 20 seconds, so it's not too bad at this point. The total buffer now is just above 2 minutes. Kilometre 6, the legs are really starting to burn at this point. Another 30 seconds lost, only 1 minute and 40 seconds ahead. Kilometre 7, another tough one, more time just shipping away. Another 30 seconds gone, only 1 minute and 10 seconds in my buffer. All right, Kilometre 8, getting towards the juicy end. So the time is really starting to fall away quickly now. As we get closer and closer to the finish line, my legs just feel like jelly. The goal for Kilometre 8 was 4 minutes and 8 seconds. I dig deep and managed to get 4 minutes and 32 seconds. Not the pace I need, it's still another 20 seconds or so lost. Total buffer now is only 50 seconds. And with only 2 kilometres to go, it is not looking good. The last 2 kilometres also include a final uphill section, so it is going to be pretty close. Kilometre 9. This one was pretty frustrating. We turn off-road and at this point I'm running on the grass path, and we all know that grass is quite hard to run on compared to concrete. I tried my best, but I couldn't match the 4 minutes per kilometre that I needed. I only managed a 4:47, so another 50 seconds or so lost. At this point, with 1 kilometre to go, there is pretty much nothing in it. I'm dead on my goal time, so it's all going to come down to the last 1 kilometre. If I'm going to beat my 10k record, I really need to dig deep and just leave everything on the road. It's uphill for this final kilometre, and the pace I need to manage is 4:22, which is pretty fast. As it turns out, I just can't keep up with that, and in my final kilometre, I run a 5:07. 50 seconds slower than I need. My buffer is completely wiped out by this point, but I do leave it all on the line and just sprint for the finish.
Thank you.
The total time was 50 minutes and 47 seconds, just about a minute slower than the time I needed. Initially, I was a bit disappointed to fall short of my goal. However, once I uploaded it to Strava, I got a very surprising notification. As it turned out, the course was slightly longer than 10k. The actual distance was 10.25 kilometers, which meant that as I crossed the 10k point, which wasn't the finish line, I was just slightly faster than my 10k PR. I crossed the 10k point in a time of 49 minutes and 37 seconds. I had just managed to scrape by 3 seconds quicker than I needed. In the official results, I came 45th out of 120 in the male category. So according to the Mark Lewis School of Thought, I am above average, which I am pretty happy with, especially for a 100-kilogram beluga. So what does this show? I think it shows that my current baseline fitness is so much higher than it used to be. During my training for the half Ironman, I did so many base miles, and I think that really helped because in shorter events like this, I can really push myself quite deep. Given how hilly the course was, I definitely gave it a solid effort. I feel like if it were flat, I would definitely be able to save a few minutes. Maybe on a completely flat course, I could do like a 48, which would be pretty cool. I really enjoyed the 10K distance. This is the first time I ever went 10K and really pushed myself to the finish line. I feel like this is the perfect distance for me. It's just long enough that by the end you're digging pretty deep, but it's not too long that it starts to feel like a drag, such as like in the half marathon, for example. Anyway, I'm still on my weight loss journey. I'm currently sitting at 99.7. So hopefully once I drop a bit more weight, I'll be able to try this again. Maybe once I get to like 90 kilograms, I'll be able to go maybe 45 minutes possibly. All right, that's it for this one. I'll see you next week for the next episode of Jarrod Films Fitness Stuff. All right, peace out. Like and subscribe. Bye bye.